Hello everyone, this tutorial will cover how to make this adorable baby outfit. The tutorial is divided into videos. This video will go over how I made the baby dress, so let's get started. For the top part of the dress, I used a jersey fabric and chiffon fabric for the skirt. The collar is a rectangle. The length is how much your neckline measures and the width is however long you want it to be times 2, since it will be folded in half. The rest of my patterns I traced from a 3-month-old t-shirt and bottom that I already had. I usually work with a 1/2-inch seam allowance, so I added that all around my patterns. I now have 2 pieces of the back bodice and 2 pieces of the front bodice out of the same jersey fabric. The reason why is because I want to line the inside of the top. For the sewing process, you will take your front piece and layer it on top of the back piece, right sides together. Then sew the shoulder seams and the side seams together. Repeat the same process with the other 2 back and front pieces. So now you have 2 little tops. Now for the collar we have 1 piece, which we'll fold vertically in half and sew a straight stitch where the 2 ends meet. After that, fold it horizontally with the seams on the inside so we can then insert it onto the shirt. Now that you have your 3 pieces, you're basically putting the 2 tops together with the right sides together and sandwiching the collar in between the 2 tops. To be more accurate, I first pin the collar onto one of the tops by first aligning the seam on the collar with the center back of my back piece. Once the collar is pinned in place, then I pin the other shirt on top of what I have, making sure to align the center backs and the shoulder seams together, and of course with the right sides together. I remove the first set of pins and leave the second round, which are the ones that are visible, and then it's ready to sew. This is what the top looks like once we've sewn those pieces together, and also flip the outside to the inside to reveal our collar. After some brainstorming, I decided that I wanted the skirt part of the dress to be kinda like petals but with the high-low effect. So I made 3 different pattern sizes that look like this. The front pieces are the smaller ones. The side pieces are medium size, and the back pieces are the biggest ones. When cutting out the pieces, I place the longer side of the pattern on the fold of the fabric. We're always working with them folded, so don't even bother unfolding them. I'm cutting 2 out of each pattern, so I will end up with 6 pieces altogether. I will gather all the edges except for the folded edge, so I have to do a base stitch on these 3 sides, so that I can then grab one end of the thread, pull, and gather the fabric. Once you have gathered all 3 ends on each piece, this is what it will look like. The gathering will be very tight because you want to bunch up the fabric so you can shape it into a petal. To make it easier when pinning it down, you want to give it the desired shape first and hand sew it in place. Don't spend too much time on this, it doesn't have to be neat. All of the stitches are going to be hitting anyways. After shaping it, I was left with some points sticking out, so I just cut them off to keep my seam allowance line straight. When you line them all together, you can get an idea of what the skirt will look like. Once you have all 6 pieces ready, you will pin them down around the waistline accordingly. This will be done on the outer layer, not on the lining. Since we're working with thick layers, and also because I like to leave the pins in the fabric as I sew for precision purposes, my sewing for this part was very slow. Better slow than breaking the needle. Now that it's sewn down, I hand stitched the lining onto the waistline to cover all the raw edges. For this, I folded in the 1/2-inch seam allowance and did a blind stitch. The sleeves are single layered. You fold them in half and sew the two ends together. Then either serge the raw ends or do a zigzag stitch. The last step is to hem the bottom of the sleeves, and now they're ready to be attached. When pinning it down, just make sure to align the stitch line on the sleeve with the side seam stitch on the dress. And then just continue to put pins all around it. As you may have noticed, I did this step before hand stitching the lining to the waistline. I did so because I also sandwiched the sleeves in between the two layers of fabric, so I had to do that first. However, that is something I might cover in another video. To make your life easier, I would just recommend you to attach the sleeves to both layers of the fabric and then just serge the raw edges. And that is it for the dress. If you want to see how I made the bottom and the leggings, make sure to watch the second part of this video.